Alright, so this is going to be What If Deku Had Bond's Powers, Part 2. So with that being said, let's just roll the intro.
They took it to 10. Let me tell you how I come through with the 1-2, kicking shit like kung fu. Treat a bad bitch like she average. I'm a savage, little hoe, what you want do? I'm about cash if the raw fast. I'ma get that little nigga by any means.
So in the last part, people were commenting like which version of Bond I'm going to use. Like, am I going to use before or after Purgatory? And I didn't first. That's not exactly what they said. They said anime or manga, and I didn't understand the difference. I thought they were talking about personality wise. No, but if you, this is kind of a spoiler, or this is a spoiler, but if you don't want to hear that, then I'll put like a time skip in the description. So basically, he, after he got the ability gift, he gave away his immortality, and I knew that, but I thought there was a period in between where he had immortality and gift, but apparently not, because when he first gets it, he gets like a cut, and someone told me he doesn't heal, so he doesn't have the immortality, but yet he's able to still give it to someone, which is kind of contradictory, but I don't know. But for this, I'm going to have a fusion of the two characters, or the two versions of Bond. So he's going to have he's going to get gift later on, but he's not going to be as strong as, he's not going to be nearly as strong as Purgatory Bond. So I also like to ask you guys this question, like, which backgrounds do you prefer? Do you prefer a white background, or do you prefer a black background? I might put a poll on this, I'm not sure, but I'll decide that when I'm done with this video. But anyways, let's get into the actual what if. So last time we ended off with the entry exams and Deku kind of getting the number one spot and him getting the letter from All Might. So in this one, we're actually going to get into the Quirk assessment and then the Heroes versus Villains test. So with the first like UA, the first school day, right? Deku would walk into class, and I don't think Ida and Bakugo would have that interaction where he has his feet on the table, or yeah, because I think in this one, like I said before, Bakugo is more reserved and more of an introvert than he is in canon because of what happened in his past. And you know, I think he tried to like stick by himself. And this is when Deku would see him, and he would come up to Bakugo and be like, "Oh hey man, yeah, like, looks like we're gonna be in the same class. We were able to I heard that you got second place, right?" Because I think Bakugo would still that was like his first time going all out, because these are robots and not humans, and he's never had that opportunity before. So I think in this one they'd be more friends, more of an equal power dynamic between the relationships. And Bakugo was like, "Yeah, I tried my best and I was able to get second place. What did you get?" And Deku would be like, "Oh, I just got first." And Bakugo would be kind of shocked, like, "How?" And Deku would be like, "Well, I destroyed a lot of robots pretty quickly, and then as a last good measure, I actually saved someone who was about to get crushed by one of the zero pointers." And Bakugo will be like, "Wow, that's amazing," right? And before they could continue this conversation, this is when Uraraka walks through the door. Uraraka would immediately go for Deku and be like, "Oh my gosh, are you hurt any way from last week? Is there anything I could do?" Right? Because at the last, if you haven't seen the first part, I don't know why you're watching this one, but he basically got crushed by the robot, but he was able to heal because he's immortal. So Deku's like, "Don't worry about it. Haven't I told you I'm immortal?" And she'd be like, oh yeah, I forgot, but still, you literally got crushed into some red paste on the ground. And that could be like, yeah, that's kind of the first time that's happened, but who knows, right? It might be worse next time. And Huraka would be like, well, let's hope that's not the case. And then this is when a man with really baggy eyes comes through and says, all right, that's enough socializing. We need to get ready for the school day. And they're like, who is this man? Because he's in like a sleeping bag, so they don't really understand why he's talking to us like he's the teacher. So they would question this to him, and he'd be like, well, I'm your homeroom teacher. And Ida would be like, are we going to the to that one assembly? I think it was the I forgot what it was. It was like orientation, I think. So Aizawa would be like, no, we need to test your quirks. And they would be like, isn't that what the practical exam's for? He's like, no. Whoever gets the lowest score is gonna get kicked out. So for each of the tests, I think Deku would do a lot better than he like way better than he does in canon. So basically, last time I said that he's 100 times stronger and faster than a pro athlete, and I didn't have the stats for that, right? I only had the stats for the average for lifting and stuff like that. So I just had it like 50 pounds, and apparently that was nowhere near enough. Because when I read it from a comment from like, I think the person was Mason Long, he had like a bunch of different like he had like 3 different stats for like squats, deadlift, and something else I forgot. But basically, his like lifting strength should be around 50,000, because like the quarterbacks at his high school can lift like around 500. So if we times that by 100, that's 50,000, or around 25 or 26 kilograms. I think 26,000 kilograms. I am not doing the math like on a piece of paper. I'm just generally a kilogram is around like 2 pounds, something like that. And you know, the other thing with the speed, I'm pretty sure the speed is still right. The basically like 28 miles per hour was Usain Bolt's like record. It wasn't 28, but it was like 27 point something, 27.8, I think. So if we times that by 1,000, not 1,000, times that by 100, rounded up 2,800 or 2,800, and then that's like around, it's between 3 and 4 times the speed of light, or not speed of light, the speed of sound. So it's like Mach 3 point something. So he's relative to All Might. We could tell All Might's speed from the One for All fight with where he went like 5 kilometers in like 30 seconds. So for each of the different tests, Deku would probably we would get like first place in all of them. For the strength test, his strength would be like 20, it'd be more than 20 times stronger than Shoji's. He'd be number 1 for the speed, the little race, the ball throw. It could he wouldn't get first place, since Uraraka would still get infinity. So I looked up the farthest anything has been thrown by a person, and it's around like 400 meters. Like this is without any like assistance at all, and this was a Guinness World Record like thing. So if we times that by 100, we get 40,000. Divide that by 1,000, and we get 40 kilometers. So it's a lot more than almost any other throw in the series. So he would get second place in that, since Uraraka would still get infinity. And yeah, so the person getting kicked out, I would probably say would be, um, let's just go with Mineta because I don't know if there's any real fans that are of Mineta. So he does get kicked out, and I don't think Deku would oppose this. So later on, we get to the Heroes vs Villains with All Might, and All Might is like, he bursts through the door saying, "I am here as your combat instructor," and this is when he notices Deku, because in this one Deku, he's still very tall for his age, and he's very muscular. Somewhat, he's like basically like Bond, right? In a physical appearance, right? He's not as tall. I think he's around Ida's height. So he would notice that this kid is here, and he would ask him, like, "Is your name Midoriya?" Because I'm pretty sure they exchanged names. It's like, oh my, you remembered me? And he's like, "Of course, you're the kid with immortality." And people would be shocked because even though he said it earlier, not everyone was there and not everyone could hear him. And they'd be like, oh my, like the class would be like, is that even a thing? How is that even possible? And Deku, being that really confident man that he is in this one, would be like, yeah, it's a really powerful quirk that I have. So don't be discouraged when fighting me. Try to go all out. It's not like it's gonna do any real damage. So basically what happens at this point, All Might does the system where he chooses the different teams, where they have them pick from the box to see what team they're going to be and who they're going to go against. And in this one team will be left, or two teams will be left out, since there's an odd number of students now, since Mineta was kicked out. So it's still the same matchup. It's Bakugo and Ida versus Uraraka and Deku. And in this one, I'll say it that Deku doesn't have that nickname, since he wasn't really bullied as a kid. So yeah, people still call him like Izuku. So for the actual like hero costume for this like Deku, I think it'd be Bond's second outfit, the one where it's like a trench coat that's like a dark red trench coat with the belt in the middle. I think we see this in like during the Ten Commandments arc, I think, or not that one. It's like when he goes to the fairy kingdom and donates his blood to the tree. We see him with that kind of, yeah, I guess that is the 10th Commandments arc, near the beginning of it, I believe. So that's the kind of outfit I like. I don't really like I like that one better than his original, because his original like kind of looks weird, like I don't know, I think it just shows off too much skin, I guess. And like that kind of short kind of jacket that he has, I don't really like it. I like the pants, but not really his like short jacket. And I think Deku would tell the support team to include that three section staff, so he'd be able to use a weapon to use his fox hunt abilities and things like that, right? It's better for him to use his snatch ability. So this pair up between Uraraka and Deku versus Ida and Bakugo, they do it, it's like it goes a lot different from it does in like canon, right? So what Deku tells Uraraka is that let me distract Bakugo and you go and get the bomb. I wouldn't want a pretty lady like you to get hurt. And I say this because Bond as a character is very romantic, so I think Deku having that kind of personality would do something similar. So you guys can tell me what type of ship you want in this what if. So yeah, just comment down below. With that being said, Uraraka and Deku would walk through the building, and then this is when they would hear Bakugo coming through and exploring the different parts of the wall. So Bakugo would kind of hold himself back because of that trauma that he had as a kid, and he wouldn't go all out against Deku even though he's immortal. So Uraraka would try to get past him, but Bakugo would block him. So what Deku does is he steals Bakugo's perception, and this causes him to not be aware or not be able to see Uraraka, he wouldn't be able to see her. So she's able to run through and get to the top floor where Ida's at. So after that was done, this is when it would be a fight against Deku and Bakugo. And Bakugo would try to rush Deku, but Deku would notice that his movements are slower than usual, and he would tell him like, Bakugo, you don't have to hold back. And then he would continue and say, I'm immortal, Bakugo, you don't have to, contain yourself, you could let loose. And Bakugo would be like, I can't. If I let my powers go out of control like it did all those years ago, then I might actually hurt someone and maybe even kill him. But you were lucky, Deku. If you weren't immortal, you could have died. I could have been a murderer. And I can't live with the fact that I could do that to someone. And this is when Deku says, I've seen all the hard work you've done. You've been training ever since that day to try to control your quirk, and I think you have. You don't have to worry about trying to hurt others because you have that under control. And not only that, but like I've been telling you, I'm immortal, so you don't have to hold back against me. And Bakugo's like, fine, I'll go all out. And this is when Bakugo pulls a pin from his grenade gauntlets and he shoots it at Deku. And Deku at this point, he takes the blast, right? And full on. So I think that his arm, I think right arm would be gone because it was blown off, but I think everything else would be okay. And Deku would be like, wow, that really packs a punch as his arm starts to regenerate. See, Bakugo, you can control and focus your power. You don't have to be afraid anymore. And this is when Deku just kind of ends the conversation by rushing at Bakugo and basically hitting him in the gut and one-shotting him because his speed and strength is nearly on the par of like All Might. I don't know about strength wise, but speed wise, yeah, he's on par with the weaker version of All Might that we have in the series. And as Deku finishes that fight, he rushes upstairs to where Ida and Uraraka are at. So when he joins this fight, I think what he would do is that he would use his 3-section staff to kind of just snatch the bomb. Because I don't think there's a limit on the size of the object he could steal. Like, he just needs to be able to like carry it, I guess, or be able to lift it, which Deku would be able to do in this one. So it'd be an easy win for them. If he can't, then what Deku could do is just out blitz Ida and just touch the bomb. So either way, he is a lot faster and would be able to do that. So unless Ida uses a reciprocal burst, which even then he's a lot faster still. So Deku would actually win this. Uraraka and Deku would win this, and they would show the footage to the students, live as it's going down. And after the assignment was done, after all the other people have done their version, this is when All Might would kind of tell everyone what they did right and what they did wrong, and he would tell Bakugo, he'd be like, I know you had your past, right? But you need to move on and get stronger, or else you'll never be a great hero. And he would tell Deku, like, thank you for trying to help Bakugo get over this, right? And I think for the class representative later on, I think that Ito would win, and then Deku would be his vice representative, just because I wanted something new, and most of the time I make Deku the representative anyway, so in this one it's gonna be like that. So with that being said, let me get into a few things, right? So I gave my channel some channel art, the banner. I put a watermark, and I made a new profile picture. It's Spawn with some blue glasses. You guys can tell me how you think about that. And later on today, I'm going to do part 7 to What If Deku Had All for One. So get ready for that. So with that being said, this is going to be the end of the video. So yeah.